Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is I, Mike V. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. In this video, we're going to be discussing the taxation of gambling winnings. We're going to be taking a look at what gets taxed, what is the reporting threshold, as well as whether or not you are required to have your winnings, a percentage of your winnings withheld, and a lot more. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so in the United States, all gambling winnings count as income for the purpose of calculating personal income tax. It is up to the taxpayer to determine the correct amount to be paid. To help the IRS in collecting this tax, casinos are required to report wins above certain thresholds, which is recorded on Form W2G. You are likely familiar with this form if you previously hit a hand pay on a slot. However, what's interesting here is that there are different thresholds for different games. We're actually going to take a look at that right here. I have a screenshot taken from the reporting instructions for Form W2G, taken directly from the IRS's website. I'm going to go ahead and share that with you on your screen. And we're going to read it off here and discuss this a bit. So in this first screenshot, one, you'll receive a W2G tax form, and your taxes and your win will be reported to the IRS, and you'll get a copy of it for yourself as well to file come tax time. One, the winnings not reduced by the wager, so the gross win, the winnings are $1,200 or more from a bingo game or slot machine. So you are familiar with the hand pay of $1,200 for slots, and this is the amount for a single win, whether it's a single line hit or a full bonus round. That is the threshold. So $1,200 in a single game on a slot or higher, you will have to file a tax form for that for that win, and that includes all types of gaming machines. So slots, video poker, and video keno count for this amount. And also bingo is listed here, and that includes Class 2 bingo style machines. So the ones that look like slots, but they're in fact a game of bingo. Things that you'll find in Oklahoma, for example. Now, what's interesting about the bingo games, the Class 2 slots, is that you will only have to you will only get the tax form and the hand pay if only one hit on the bingo machine is $1,200 or more. So if you have one of those red screens with multiple red spins, if you're familiar with those, if you frequently play Class 2 machines, only one of those red spins has to be $1,200 or more for it to be a hand pay. If each individual spin is less than $1,200, then there is no hand pay, even if the combined total is above $1,200. That's something I've learned for myself as well, seeing through pictures and videos over the internet. But yeah, so bingo and all gaming machines, slots, video poker, video keno count for the $1,200 threshold. But there are other ones, as you can see here on this list. We're going to go ahead and read number 2. The winnings reduced by the wager are $1,500 or more from a keno game. And this is specifically live keno. I have to stress that importance here, live keno. Yeah, so yeah, if you're playing the physical game of keno where the actual physical balls are being chosen, it's like the lottery if you've played keno, of course. It's still common in Nevada, but it's been shrinking. You don't see it as often as you used to, but it's still around. Yeah, so the threshold is slightly higher for live keno. It's $1,500. Maybe it's a fun fact you haven't heard of before, but that is true. And it's net too, so you can reduce the wager. Say you made a $10 keno bet and you won $1,500 back. You can subtract the 10 from that for a net gain of $1,490, and that won't necessitate a tax form. So yeah, keno 1500. Let's go to number 3. The winnings reduced by the wager or buy-in are more than $5,000 from a poker tournament. So if you, whether it's the World Series of Poker every year in Vegas every summer, or your local low stakes tournament at your local card room, the threshold for tax reporting and the W2G is $5,000 for such a game. So for poker tournaments specifically, and it's a net gain as well, meaning you can reduce the buy-in to get to the to determine whether or not it's above or below 5,000. And next one, this one's a bit of a long one here. 4, the winnings, except winnings from bingo, slot machines, keno, and poker tournaments, so this is for everything else, reduced at the option of the payer by the wager are A, $600 or more, and B, at least 300 times the amount of the wager. So for part number 4 here, this would be for table games that have side bets, will most likely fall into this category. Yeah, so like I'm trying to think of some examples here, like the Fortune Pie Gow or something. The Street Shooter and it's any side bet which you win at least $600 and the payout is 300 to 1 or higher. So it's most likely going to be a side bet on a table game that you're going to find this. Though I think, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, that HHR, historic horse racing machines, I think fit under this category as well. I have heard similar thresholds for a W2G tax form as well. $600, 300 times the wager. I've heard it from another source that HHR counts in this category as well. So let me know in the comments section if that's true or not. And then finally, number 5 here, the winnings are subject to federal income tax withholding, either regular gambling withholding or backup withholding. So we're going to actually get to the withholding section next. And we'll go ahead and show you that right now. So you may have heard from certain other slot channels that have the casino withhold taxes so you don't have to pay, worry about paying it later, you know. Or you pay the difference later or get a refund if you pay too much, you know. But interestingly enough, there are instances where gambling withholding is actually mandatory. And here is the section that discusses it. So regular gambling withholding for certain games. There's also something called backup withholding. That's probably what these other slot channels have said about, which is the optional type of withholding. But this one's called regular withholding, and we'll discuss this here. Let's read it. So you may be required to withhold 24% of gambling winnings for federal income tax. This is referred to as regular gambling withholding. Withhold at the 24% rate if winnings minus the wager are more than $5,000. So it's a $5,000 threshold for for withholding specifically, and are from sweepstakes, wagering pools, lotteries, and wagering transactions in a pari-mutuel pool with respect to horse races, dog races, or jai alai, if the winnings are at least 300 times the amount wagered, or other wagering transactions if the winnings are at least 300 times the amount wagered. Maybe HHR is part of this category as well. I don't know. But yeah, so it's at the threshold for mandatory withholding is $5,000 for these specific games. But you'll see you don't. But if you've seen slot channels, you'll notice that there is no mandatory withholding for slot jackpots above that amount. But you'll notice that it's mandatory for these games, as you see here on your screen. So we'll go ahead and finally we'll head over to the next section. We're going to discuss those who may be visiting the United States. Maybe they're going to Vegas, and maybe they're lucky and they hit a win, and they want to know, hey, am I subject to tax too? Well, we're going to read this. This is for foreign persons, so non-U.S. citizens. Payments of gambling winnings to a non-resident alien individual or a foreign entity aren't subject to reporting or withholding on Form W-2G. Generally, gambling winnings paid to a foreign person are subject to 30% withholding under Sections 1441A and 1442A and are reportable on Form 1042. So there is withholding at a higher percentage for jackpots or other major wins, as that would otherwise necessitate a W-2G for foreign visitors. Annual withholding tax return. Okay, yeah. Winnings from a non-resident alien from blackjack, baccarat, craps, roulette, big six wheel, or a live dog or horse race in the United States from legal wagers initiated outside the United States in a pari-mutuel pool aren't subject to withholding or reporting. Other sources I've seen online indicate that that means that foreigners who win at these specific table games, blackjack, baccarat, craps, roulette, etc., are free from paying any tax at all for those specific games. So there's no withholding at all either. Now, I will mention, I don't have the information here to show you on screen, but I do remember in my head that there are tax treaties. If you are a non-U.S. citizen resident in certain countries which the U.S. has a tax treaty with, you might be able to claim the entirety of your win, either right away if you have already an individual tax ID number, or you'll have to wait until the upcoming tax season to file a tax return to claim a refund for it, for the amount that was withheld. So if you are a resident of, I believe, the United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, Japan, there's probably several other European countries I don't know off the top of my head. The tax treaty between those countries and the U.S. indicate that non-U.S. citizens resident in those countries can have their winnings claimed back in full. So 0% essentially for winnings for those foreigners. Other countries might have a lower withholding. I think I remember reading somewhere that residents of Malta will only be subject to 10% withholding. Obviously, you should consult a tax professional for any of these complicated instances, as well as for anybody as well, U.S. citizen or not. Definitely is important that you do that. But yeah, and then I think there's one more thing I want to discuss before we go, and that is whether or not you can deduct your losses. You may have heard that, if I have reportable winnings to pay taxes on, I can just deduct any of my losses after that to negate that, and because we mostly lose than we win. However, that is only true if you itemize. If you have itemized deductions, as opposed to taking the standard deduction. So this will only work if you are someone, say, who automatically itemize, regularly. Not even on a year that you don't have gambling winnings to report. So if you're someone who already itemizes, then that's probably a good thing for you. Then you will be able to take advantage of that. Another person who would be able to itemize is someone who potentially has won big and has since lost a lot of it, in which the amount of losses, has exceeded the amount of the standard deduction for them to itemize. Obviously, not a good thing, but that would be another instance of someone who would be able to itemize. But for others, though, if you're someone who already the standard deduction is somewhere above $12,000 for single filers and double that for if you're married filing jointly. So yeah, if you only have like a small win, small $2,000, $3,000 hand pay the entire time, and you're someone who usually takes the standard deduction, it's probably not going to thread the needle. And then it's lower than the standard deduction anyway, so you're not going to have that. And if you already take the standard deduction, you're not itemizing at all, so it's not going to make that much of an issue. You might as well consider just taking that into account, thinking about have some funds set aside to pay any extra tax, especially if you did not choose to have tax withheld when you received your hand pay. But yeah, that's all I'm going to discuss here for this video. If you have anything else to add that I may have missed, please put it in the comment section below. And let me just be clear here, I am not a tax accountant or a tax lawyer. Obviously, you should do your own research and seek the advice of a tax expert, especially when it comes to something like the taxation of gambling winnings. But we're going to end it off here. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And if you enjoyed the video and you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up. I definitely appreciate it. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Share this video with others. Hit the bell icon to be notified once I release a brand new video. And I'll see you for the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and go make it happen.